Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
Princess Arya gazed out over the sprawling gardens of the royal palace, her heart a battlefield of conflicting emotions. The vibrant colors of alien flora rippled in the soft breeze, yet the beauty of her surroundings felt hollow. Though she was a royal, the weight of her paralysis pressed down on her like a heavy shroud, making her feel more like a prisoner in her own body. The palace was a marvel of engineering, gleaming archways and shimmering surfaces that caught the light of two suns hanging in an orange-hued sky. But all the beauty in the world couldn't mask the shadows of isolation creeping into her heart. Despite her royal blood, she was deemed unworthy by those maintaining the alien customs of her world, where strength and agility were celebrated above all. No one wanted her. Her condition had resulted from a tragic accident during a diplomatic event where a rogue alien faction had staged a dangerous coup. A flash of chaos, followed by an earth-shattering fall, had left her paralyzed from the waist down. Now, she was seen as an unfortunate burden, rather than the symbol of hope and unity they had envisioned for her. The elders of her planet convened regularly, their hushed conversations filled with the murmurs of the royal family's diminishing honor, as suitors one after another backed out of a potential union with a princess who could not walk. Arya had overheard them speaking, considering her future bleak as they weighed her value as a marriageable asset, a title that had become an infliction rather than a privilege. This particularly dreary afternoon, as she scrolled through the holographic news channels on her personal comm, one story drew her attention. A human envoy had arrived on their planet. The renowned diplomat, Jack Hartman, had come to discuss interspecies relations and peace treaties. Perhaps he will be different, she mused to herself. Maybe he'll see me as something more. Yet, deep down, the dread of rejection coursed through her veins. What human would want to marry a broken princess? As she stared into the holographic screen, the image of Jack flickered to life. A ruggedly handsome man with kind brown eyes and an easy smile. There was an undeniable spark of warmth that emanated from him, a sense of understanding that tugged at her heart. But she quickly squashed those thoughts, reminding herself of the truth that enveloped her life like a suffocating cloak. She was paralyzed, and in this world, that made her undesirable. The soft chime from her wrist comb snapped her from her thoughts. The Elder Council had summoned her for an urgent meeting. A chill crawled up her spine as she wheeled herself toward the throne room, her mind racing with the implications. What would they decide about her and her future? As she entered, the council members sat before her in their ornate robes, their expressions serious. The air was thick with unspoken words. The weight of tradition pressed upon her shoulders like a heavy stone. "Princess Arya," began Elder Vorak, the council's head, his voice grave. "It is our duty to discuss the fate of your future. The alliance with humanity presents an opportunity. We must secure a marriage alliance as a priority to restore the honor of our royal line." "What do you mean?" Her voice trembled slightly. "You cannot be serious. The council has decided to offer your hand in marriage to the human diplomat, Jack Hartman. It is in the best interest of the kingdom." "Why would he ever accept me?" Arya shot back, her heart racing. "I am not expected, nor desired in such a role. I am paralyzed. I am." "Enough," Elder Vorak interjected, his tone sharp. "This is not a choice. It is a necessity. Your value as the paralyzed princess can still be revitalized through this union. Do not squander this chance." And with that, a maelstrom of emotions surged within her. Anger, resignation, and a glimmer of hope flickered amidst the dark. As she left the throne room, the prospect of meeting Jack became daunting yet thrilling. Perhaps, just perhaps, in this new arrangement, she might find someone who could see beyond her paralysis and into the soul of who she really was. Little did she know, this meeting would change the course of her life forever. The next morning, the sun rose over the alien city, casting an iridescent glow across the palace that felt barely warm against Arya's skin. Her mind was a tempest of thoughts as she prepared to meet Jack Hartman. The council's decision weighed heavily on her conscience, and she wrestled with the idea of being married off to a human, a being from a world completely foreign to hers. Sitting in front of the ornate mirror, Arya attempted to tame her hair, a cascade of silken silver that fell in waves, but her heart was far from calm. Each stroke of the brush felt like an act of defiance against the invisible lines drawn around her. In this moment, she yearned for agency over her life, but it felt as if the council's decision had stripped her of even that. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts, and Melina, her closest handmaiden and confidant, entered with neatly folded garments. "Princess, you must not think of it as a decision made against your will," Melina encouraged, her eyes bright with optimism. "This could be an incredible opportunity to bring two worlds together. You could change so much for our people." "Change? I don't even know if he'll want me," Arya replied, her voice strained. "You don't understand. I am less than a person in their eyes because of this disability." "Don't say that," Melina urged, kneeling beside Arya's chair. "You have strength and wisdom that no alien can match. He will see that. Remember, even the most rigid roots can still bear blossoms." With a final sigh, Arya accepted Melina's encouragement, although uncertainty still twisted in her gut. What if he sees me as they do? An obligation, a symbol of peace rather than a partner? As the time drew nearer for her to meet Jack, she dressed in a flowing royal gown designed in the deep crimson hues of her house, complemented by delicate, shimmering silver threads that caught the light. She wanted to appear regal and confident, believing that perhaps the fabric could act as armor against her insecurities. When the hour arrived, her heart thundered as the doors to the royal chamber opened, revealing Jack. He entered with a composed stride, his angular features framed by messy brown hair, and the moment their eyes locked, something flickered in the air between them, a sense of curiosity and understanding that drew Arya in like a magnet. "Princess Arya," Jack greeted, his accent rich and warm, instantly softening the tension in the atmosphere. "It's an honor to finally meet you." Arya extended her hand, feeling vulnerable as she waited for him to take it. With gentle grace, Jack lowered himself to one knee, accepting the gesture as he held her fingers delicately. "I must say, your beauty is even more striking than the report suggested." A blush rose to Arya's cheeks. Her instincts told her to push back, to retreat into her shell, but the warmth in his gaze held her captive. Instead of the pity she expected, there was a spark of genuine intrigue behind his eyes. "Thank you, but I am not as I seem," she replied softly. "There are limitations you may not be aware of." "Limitations?" Jack questioned, tilting his head slightly, encouraging her to share. "The truth is, I am paralyzed." The weight of the words hung heavy between them. "I've been confined to this chair after the accident." His expression shifted to one of understanding, not pity, and she could see in him an authentic curiosity to know the person behind the title. "Thank you for sharing that with me. Truthfully, it doesn't change how fascinating I find you." A flicker of hope ignited within her, despite the council's loud proclamations. "You truly mean that?" "Of course," he replied with a soft smile. "We all have our struggles. Yours do not define you, Princess." They spent the next few hours together, a tapestry of conversation weaving between them. Jack shared tales of Earth, a place of lush forests and towering mountains. The laughter they shared offered glimpses of kinship, and for the first time, Arya felt truly seen. As they delved into deeper discussions, the complexities of their worlds, the different expectations of gender, and the burdens they both carried, Arya found herself drawn to Jack's compassion. He felt like a breath of fresh air, invigorating her spirit as she began shedding the forlorn persona of the paralyzed princess. However, shadows loomed beneath the surface. Arya knew that what she felt could mean nothing in the face of duty and obligation. Soon, she would be expected to declare her willingness to marry him, a decision that felt like both a glimmer of freedom and the tightening of chains. As the day came to a close and Jack prepared to leave, Arya hesitated. "Jack, if you do this, if you marry me, I have to know something. Will it be out of obligation, or do you see me?" Her heart raced as she held her breath, desperate for his answer. Jack's expression turned serious, and as he looked deep into her eyes, she saw sincerity. "I see you, Arya. I see your strength, your intelligence, and your spirit. It's those things that make me want to fight for you, for us, if you will allow me." In that moment, The choice no longer felt as daunting as it once did. Perhaps this union could be forged not just as a political alliance, but as two souls finding each other amidst the chaos of their worlds. Over the following weeks, Arya found herself caught in a whirlwind of emotions. As Jack continued to visit her daily at the palace, their connection blossomed, transforming from tentative glances and shy smiles to laughter and mutual understanding that made Arya feel alive again. With each meeting, her heart began to thaw from the frost of isolation that had gripped it for so long. Their conversations grew deeper, exploring the cultural intricacies of their worlds. Jack's tales of Earth fascinated Arya, painting vivid images of sprawling green landscapes, creatures that roamed the forests, and vibrant cultures that animated the human experience. In return, Arya shared the rich tapestry of her own world's history, its various species, and the complexities of governance among the alien races. One afternoon, while watching twin suns sink below the horizon, Arya revealed her passion for the arts. "I used to paint," she confessed, a wistful smile tugging at her lips. "Colors have always spoken to me more than words, but with my limitations, I haven't touched a brush in ages." Jack leaned closer, curiosity piqued. "Why not? You should paint again. I would love to see the world through your eyes." The sincerity in his voice coaxed a spark of hope within her. "Perhaps, but I have forgotten how to truly express what I feel." "Let me help you," he proposed with a gentle smile. "Let's start small. I'll bring you paint, and we can create something together." That weekend, Jack arrived with a well-stocked canvas kit, vibrant tubes of color, brushes of varying sizes, and a blank canvas waiting for inspiration. As Arya laid the items out before her, a mixture of fear and excitement coursed through her. "I haven't done this in so long," she admitted softly, her fingers trembling as she picked up a brush. Jack settled beside her, positioning himself to assist. "We'll take it slow. Just focus on the colors. Let your mind wander." As they began applying paint to the canvas, what emerged were not elaborate designs, but visceral splashes of color. Passionate reds, calming blues, bright yellows, all blending imperfectly into a vibrant chaos that spoke of her hidden emotions. The chaos matched the storm inside her heart, yet with Jack beside her, it felt liberating. "See," he encouraged, "it's beautiful because it's real, just like you." Arya laughed, her heart soaring with each brushstroke. In those moments, she found renewed confidence, the fears of her paralysis fading into the background as she lost herself in the forgotten joy of artistry. As their days turned into weeks, they faced challenges. Cultural differences often bubbled to the surface during their discussions. One afternoon, while they walked through a stunning array of alien plants, Jack posed a challenge. "Tell me, what's it like being a princess?" he asked, genuinely curious. Arya paused, contemplating. "It's an illusion of power and freedom. Yes, my family lives in luxury, but I feel like a puppet, a symbol rather than a person. I'm expected to marry, to produce heirs, regardless of my own desires." "But you're going to marry me," Jack noted, surprised. "Isn't that a choice you can make?" "It's a choice imposed upon me," she replied sharply, frustration creeping into her voice. "I'm glad you see me and understand me, but to others, a crippled princess is still a liability, a burden." Jack's expression softened. "Then let's change that perception together. Allow me to help you integrate into my world too. In my culture, we value individuals and their abilities, not just their status." Her heart raced at the thought. Could they really challenge the norms that bound their worlds? "But it could take years, Jack. Will you stay by my side? Will your people even accept our union when they see me as I am?" Jack moved closer, taking her hand in his. "They will. And if they don't, we'll fight for it. Together. You are worth every battle." His unwavering support sparked something within Arya, a fierce resolve. Together, they could bridge not only the gap between their cultures, but fight for acceptance, love, and understanding. As the days passed, Arya became more public about her relationship with Jack. She began to attend council meetings, not merely as a royal figurehead, but as an advocate for herself and for those who felt overlooked. Her voice became stronger, emboldened by Jack's presence. Yet, the tension grew within the royal palace. The Elder Council, especially Vorik, watched closely, their disapproval illuminating every corner of the lavish chambers. They whispered behind closed doors, plotting disapprovals and denouncements of her union with a human. One afternoon, as they prepared for a council meeting, Arya found herself face to face with Elder Vorik, who wore disappointment like a mantle. "You're chasing a fantasy, princess," he admonished, disdain seeping into his gaze. "Humans are inferior creatures, unfit to intermingle with our royalty." Before Arya could respond, Jack stepped forward, protective. "That may be your view, Elder, but as the princess has shown, superiority is not defined by species or circumstance." Arya felt a surge of gratitude towards Jack for defending her, yet also a twinge of fear at the backlash that could follow. The Elder's eyes narrowed, and he replied, "You do not understand our customs, human. Persevere at your own peril." Determined and unwavering, Arya took a deep breath. "If I am to be a symbol, I will not embody liability. I will show our worlds the strength created through love, despite the obstacles." As they walked back out into the sunlight, the gravity of their situation weighed heavily on both of them. But together, they felt indefatigable, a promise of unity amid the storm, ready to withstand the challenges on the horizon. The days leading up to the wedding were a chaotic blend of excitement and frustration. Arya and Jack stood at the cusp of a monumental cultural event that would seal their union, but the intricacies of the rituals felt stifling at times. The preparations were steeped in traditions that Arya tried to respect, even as she wrestled with her apprehensions about the grand spectacle that awaited them. As the palace staff buzzed with activity, lavish decorations adorned the throne room. Vibrant alien flowers bloomed in arrangements symbolic of both worlds, creations that reflected their union. Arya's heart was heavy with anticipation, knowing that while this event invited festivity, it would also serve as a stage for societal scrutiny. On the morning of the wedding, Melina helped Arya prepare. "Today is not just about the union," her friend said, arranging a stunning silver tiara intricately woven with delicate gems atop Arya's hair. "It's about showing them your strength, your worth, and how love can transcend barriers that have held us for too long." Arya stared at her reflection, her royal garb a tapestry of crimson satin and silver embroidery. But beneath the ornate layers lay her insecurities, her paralysis reminding her that there would be glances. Whispered judgments would follow her down the aisle as she wheeled herself towards her future. Finally, the moment arrived. The ceremonial procession commenced, and Arya's heart raced. As she wheeled herself forward, the hall was already filled with dignitaries and council members glaring at the union, their gazes a mixture of scrutiny and curiosity. Jack stood at the altar, clad in formal attire that mirrored the regal elegance Arya wore, radiating strength and warmth. Taking a deep breath, she steadied herself, her eyes locked onto his. Each push of her wheels was filled with determination. She felt the weight of countless eyes upon her, but Jack's gaze was a soft anchor amidst the chaos, a reminder that this journey was more than side glances and societal norms. As she reached the altar, the Elder Council, led by Vorik, began the ceremony, invoking traditional rituals that marked their union. The sound of melodic chants echoed through the chamber, songs of celebration punctuated by the pressing weight of heritage. In this moment, Arya felt time slowing down. It felt almost surreal. "Do you, Jack Hartman, take Princess Arya as your wife?" Vorik's voice carried power, and the question echoed in the chamber, demanding an answer. "I do," Jack replied, his voice unwavering, warmth radiating from him as he looked into Arya's eyes. "And do you, Princess Arya, take Jack Hartman as your husband?" A weighty pause descended, filled with the anticipation that resonated in the very fabric of the moment. She felt all eyes pinned on her as she took a deep breath, remembering the purpose behind their union, their promise to challenge the status quo. "I do," Arya declared, her voice strong and clear. She felt Jack's hand clasp hers, and it filled her with the surety she craved. "I choose this path because love exists beyond boundaries and limitations." The crowd murmured, a mixture of surprise and discontent rippling through those present. Yet, her declaration rang out like a clarion call, challenging the long-standing prejudices that had confined her and countless others for too long. As Vorak uttered the final words of their union, a series of golden lights filled the room, showering the couple in ethereal brilliance. Applause erupted, though some of the council maintained a stoic silence. Jack turned to Arya, their eyes reflecting the joy and defiance they both felt. Yet, just as the celebrations began, chaos erupted. Tension fractured the atmosphere as a faction of dissenters, vehemently opposed to this union, stormed into the chamber, led by a fierce alien warrior adorned with mismatched battle scars. "This is an abomination," he screeched, pointing an accusatory finger at the couple. "A human cannot marry a princess of our kind." Arya's heart sank. Sensing the crucial moment, they fought for unraveling before her eyes, the unity they sought on the verge of disintegration. But Jack held his ground, stepping protectively in front of Arya. "You misunderstand. This union is not about weakness or entitlement. It is about strength, love, and the right to choose who we wish to be with." The malicious warrior snarled, anger igniting the crowd. They shouted and jeered, the faction rallying behind this act of defiance, threatening their moment of joy. In a captivating twist, Arya wheeled forward, lowering herself into the fray. "Do you not see? Your words echo the same prejudice I have faced all my life. This moment symbolizes not only my union with Jack, but a challenge to the very norms that claim we cannot merge our worlds." A hush fell, the crowd captivated. Her voice rang in the air, charged with passion. "Love knows no boundaries, no species, no cages. We should celebrate our differences, not cower in hatred and ignorance." Her words seemed to hang in the air, resonating in the hearts of those willing to listen. One by one, faces began to soften. The warrior's resolve flickered as he faced the courage reflected in her gaze. A council elder stepped forward, breaking through the tension. "Perhaps, in our disdain for what is foreign, we have overlooked something beautiful. Maybe it is time we evolved. This union, the two of them, it may help us find a new path." The tide began to shift, whispers of agreement echoing through the room. As the dissenters wavered, confusion contorted their faces. Whether this acceptance would evolve into understanding remained uncertain. Victory seized the moment. Light ignited where before there had been darkness. With Jack beside her, Arya felt a surge of strength, a sense of purpose greater than fleeting opinions. Together, they could inspire change. As the air filled with tentative applause, Arya clutched Jack's hand tightly. Their wedding, an unconventional celebration, was a catalyst, not just for their love, but for the potential of their worlds uniting. In the days following the wedding, the atmosphere around the palace felt distinctly different. The tension that once hung like a thick fog had begun to disperse as the people of Arya's world grappled with the significant event and the implications it held for their culture. What began as a scandalous union had sparked conversations about acceptance, love, and what it truly meant to be different. Arya and Jack found themselves at the heart of these discussions. They attended council meetings where elders, once staunchly opposed to the marriage, now sat with slight hesitations, curious about the world beyond their traditions. Arya took a deep breath, feeling her voice grow stronger with each passing session, empowered by the support she received from Jack. Change requires dialogue, and today, we stand as living proof that love can lead to progress, she stated during one particularly heated debate. "Let us not shy away from the differences that make us unique. Instead, let's celebrate them." The council hall echoed with murmurs of agreement and incredulity alike. But alongside Jack, she felt fearless. She was no longer the paralyzed princess confined to intrigue and expectations. She was a force for change. Despite the burgeoning acceptance from some elders, there were still factions resistant to her marriage. Chief among them was Vorak, who remained steadfastly critical. "A human with no understanding of tradition cannot govern our people," he stated in a council meeting. "We cannot live shackled by customs if they bind us into ignorance," Jack countered. "A new era calls for new leaders, unrestrained by prejudice." The tension between progress and tradition rippled within the council, but each confrontation drew Arya out of her shell a little more. With every speech, she shed the title of the paralyzed princess and embraced her identity as a partner, an equal, and an agent of transformation. Through Jack's encouragement, she embraced creative initiatives that involved human perspectives on innovation, education, and disability. They worked together meticulously, reaching out to Earth and alien scholars alike, creating a symposium aimed at bridging cultures in a way that would ultimately benefit both species. With plans set in motion, Arya proposed holding the first interspecies summit at the palace, a gathering of both alien dignitaries and human delegates to discuss cooperation and mutual respect. As the date approached, excitement filled the air, but anxiety loomed ever closer. Arya had organized everything meticulously, but the shadow of dissent still spotted the gathering. The morning of the summit arrived, and she felt the familiar apprehension tighten in her stomach. Would they accept this union of worlds? Would they listen to her? As dignitaries from both sides began arriving, she caught sight of Jack standing beside a group of human representatives, laughter bubbling between them. With each smile exchanged, her confidence grew. If they could find joy in being together, surely she could find the courage to confront her fears. When the time came for her to address the summit, she took a deep breath, steeling herself. The grand hall, filled with the two species side by side, felt electric with anticipation. "Welcome!" Arya's voice rang throughout the space, echoing against high ceilings adorned with interstellar motifs. Their eyes turned to her, curious, skeptical, hopeful. Today we are gathering not just to discuss politics or power, but to explore the potential that comes from unity. Jack stood by her side, his presence a solid anchor amid the whirlwind of emotions. In a time where divisions widen, we have the opportunity to create a bridge, Arya continued, a fire igniting within her. Together, we'll change the narrative, redefine what it means to coexist. As she spoke, she felt her nervousness dissipate, reclaiming the strength she had hidden for so long. Arya outlined her vision, an alliance based not on obligation, but a shared journey toward understanding and acceptance. When she finished, a smattering of applause greeted her, some faces lit with newfound appreciation, while Voryx remained stoic and unfazed, a reminder that not all would be swayed by spirited words. The summit unfolded in a dynamic flow of discussion, with perspectives exchanged and plans laid for collaborative projects. Jaw-dropping innovations were proposed, and a vision emerged that illuminated the path forward. Though tensions simmered under the surface, the connections forming between the two societies began to forge a brighter future. However, not all was smooth sailing. Following the summit, Voryx approached Jack and Arya with a hard-eyed gaze. "You may have impressed some today," he began, "but you should know dissent still brews. Your union is a thorn in the side of many, and should it lead to instability, you'll be the first to bear the consequences." Arya's heart raced, fear momentarily washing over her. But then her resolve solidified. She refused to let fear dictate her future. "Let them challenge us, Voryx. Change does not come without resistance. Together, Jack and I will prove that love conquers all, even prejudice." He remained silent, the tension crackling like electricity in the air. Yet, Arya and Jack stood firm, united in the face of adversity. Weeks turned into months, and with Jack always at her side, they pushed against the currents of change. Their joint efforts began to bear fruit as more and more alien minds opened to the possibilities of collaboration. Gradually, an alliance blossomed, a landscape far more vibrant than the past they once inhabited. Together, they broke the barriers that confined artist and diplomat, human and alien, revealing the beauty of shared strengths. Through it all, Arya learned that the power to change the narrative lay not just in her actions, but in her willingness to embrace who she was. Paralyzed, yes, but strong, determined, and filled with love that knew no bounds. At the end of it all, as she looked upon the flourishing partnerships and newfound friendships, Arya realized that her life was her own, a harmonious blend of love, struggle, and triumph. And with Jack by her side, she could face whatever the universe threw their way. With the sun setting on the horizon, casting hues of orange and purple across the sky, Arya sat in the gardens of the palace, now more vibrant than ever, a testament to the unity she had fought for. Life on their alien planet was changing, slowly but surely, and she felt immensely proud to have played a part in that transformation. Many around her, both human and alien, had embraced the principles of togetherness, cooperation, and innovation. The previously rigid lines separating their cultures were beginning to blur, replaced by a fertile ground for kindness and understanding. Jack approached, a soft smile gracing his face as he settled beside her on the bench. He reached for her hand, their fingers interlacing effortlessly. The warmth of his touch reassured her as they shared a moment of peace amidst the whirlwind of change. "Look at what we've accomplished," Jack said, gazing at the gardens. "I never imagined that a marriage could spark such solidarity." "Neither did I," Arya remarked, her heart swelling with gratitude. "But I believe it was always possible. We simply had to take the first step and refuse to be defined by our limitations." As they spoke, a group of children from both alien and human backgrounds played in the distance, their laughter mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves. It was a sight of pure joy, one that warmed her heart. Children learning from an early age to embrace diversity, unburdened by fear or prejudice, the embodiment of the future they had dreamt of. With the upcoming anniversary of their union approaching, Arya felt it was time for a public celebration, a festival to honor the new alliances and the progress they had made together. They envisioned a gathering that would invite all cultures to showcase their traditions, arts, and cuisines, helping to foster deeper connections between the two worlds. As preparations commenced, word spread through the kingdoms of the upcoming festival. Excitement buzzed in the air, with many eager to participate, while some lingering shadows grazed at the edges of anticipation. Arya and Jack had both heard whispers of dissent from those who still clung to archaic beliefs. On the day of the festival, individuals from every corner of the galaxy arrived at the palace, the sprawling grounds adorned with vibrant decorations symbolizing unity, a tapestry of colors woven together. Performers showcased their talents, music hailing from diverse cultures filled the air, and a collection of foods offered a feast that transcended borders. The festivities began, and the atmosphere pulsed with an infectious energy as beings from different worlds came together, engaging in laughter and shared experiences. Arya and Jack took center stage, standing proudly hand in hand. As the crowd settled, Arya spoke, her voice ringing with conviction. "Today, we stand on the precipice of a new era. Let this festival remind us of the beauty that exists in our diversity, the strength drawn from collaboration." Jack joined her. "We must cast aside fear and embrace understanding. There is no greater force than love in its purest form, capable of bridging any divide." The audience erupted in applause, the sound reverberating against the palace's grand architecture. Yet among the cheers, a figure emerged from the crowd, Vorik, his expression tense yet contemplative, raising his hand for silence. The crowd murmured in surprise. Vorik stepped forward, his stature imposing yet uncertain. "I come to you not as an elder today, but as a man who has witnessed the power of love and change firsthand. Once, I viewed this union with disdain, but today I see the hope it brings. They showed us that love is not confined to borders, nor is it hindered by our fears." Arya held her breath, surprised by his words. "It is time for us to embrace innovation and understanding as the foundation of our future. The princess and Jack have taught us much. We must not let ignorance dictate our paths." A ripple of applause spread through the crowd, and the tide of acceptance swelled, emboldening not just the supportive voices, but awakening those once wrapped in doubt. With teary eyes, Arya looked at Jack, their hands still joined. This journey had always been about more than just their love. It had become a tapestry of lives bound in mutual respect, breaking free from the chains of prejudice and embracing the beauty of diversity. As the festival continued, Arya reveled in the laughter and camaraderie surrounding her. They danced, mingled, and celebrated the flourishing acceptance that had emerged within their worlds, proving that through love, barriers could fall, and connections could run deeper than the stars that peppered the night sky. As the stars twinkled above, signifying the potential of a bright future, Arya smiled, knowing they had embarked on a journey where love brought transformation, not only for themselves but for generations that would follow. With Jack at her side, facing the future seemed like an adventure waiting to unfold, full of limitless possibilities waiting to bloom. And thus, together, they began to weave a new story, one of hope, acceptance, and an everlasting partnership that transcended worlds.